The foot-tapping anthems, the beats, the iconic beginnings. Music draws you in. Let's dive into the melodies that shape our lives. A journey through the symphony of your mind.
Welcome to Your Brain on Music, a podcast that asks the question, what really happens in your brain when you listen to music? Here's your host, Anthony Cirillo.
Well, thank you, Jim Nance, for that wonderful, warm introduction. And welcome, everybody, to Your Brain on Music, a podcast that asks a question, what really happens in your brain when you listen to music? We're doing our Sage Stream. Sage Stream is a live stream, interactive music network for seniors, caregivers, and senior living where we have 120 artists on the platform. And what I've opened up to my artists is to do a podcast with us to explore their love of music and what songs resonate with them and why. And so today we have Denny Sarokin. He has written, recorded, and toured with Every Mother's Son, Rick Nelson, and the Stone Canyon Band, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, the Monkey's Bread, and other hit artists. He's written and recorded hundreds of songs for TV and soundtracks. Denny is one of Nashville's premier guitar instructors and author of the best-selling DVD, Lictionary, The Songwriter's Guide to Great Guitar. He's worked as a guitar instructor and song consultant for Nashville Songwriter Association International, the Tennessee Songwriters Association International, the National Guitar Workshops, blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on, Denny. Denny created the Make Your Guitar Your Co-Writer and Songwriting in 3D workshops. Sure. Denny Sarokin, how are you, Denny?
I am fine, thank you. Before we get started, I'd like to thank you for including me in your Sage Stream program. You know, it's an honor to be with it, and I think it's just a great gift for the artist as well as the clientele, and I appreciate what you do.
Well, we certainly appreciate you being on the program. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, first of all?
5'7", used to be brown. Eyes of brown. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, then lived in New York City, and that's where we had the Every Mother's Son when I was about 17, 18. And did music there, wound up going out to California, basically just chasing the music. I was involved in a film that was like a clone ripoff of the Monkees. Warner Brothers did a film, got me out to California. Thank God they shelved the film. But that kept me there. Then I wound up, playing clubs, doing some local sessions, and winding up with Rick Nelson and the Stone Canyon Band, which was great. It was great working with Rick and the band. And, as much as Rick was a teen idol and a star and a legend, it was really a Robin Hood and his Merry Men atmosphere. And I got to record 8 of my songs with him. And it was just a great musical and personal experience.
That's awesome. I'm sure you have stories. We can explore that maybe another time. So let me ask, so how did you get started? I see, you play guitar. Do you play any other instruments? How were you exposed to music?
I play banjo and mandolin and piano, bass, and I play them all kind of well enough that I can play them on my stuff. I mean, I wouldn't hire myself to be a banjo player if I really needed a banjo on a player. But if I've written a song, I know,
right.
No matter whether it's bluegrass style or folky style. So I did start off in the folk generation. Of course, in the 50s growing up, I'm hearing Everly Brothers and I'm hearing the local stuff. And it was a great experience working in the folk musician scene. I mean, I was just probably about 14 or so, but going down every Sunday to Washington Square, they had everybody would be playing. It was just it was just like 100 different jams going on simultaneously in the water fountain going off. But while me and my brother were doing our little folk act, just singing Kingston Trio songs or whatever, there were people there that wound up being the Birds and the Mamas and the Papas and stuff,
Wow.
the fountain. And just the club scene, I just remember schlepping a banjo, driving, coming in all the way from Brooklyn on the train and walking a mile, and taking an ice cold banjo, out that wouldn't stay in tune, but playing on Hootenanny Nights at the bitter end.
Wow.
But my first real exposure was a band called the Weavers, which Pete Seeger was famously in. And I heard, might be a terrible mistake here. It's hard enough to keep a banjo in tune, let alone one that's been in the wall. I heard like this frailing thing, and I heard this sound. They all sang, "Wake up, wake up." When they went that, it was "Wake up, wake up, and I just like something just shook my soul. Just hearing, I mean, I didn't even listen to the rest of the song. And the banjo intro was, interesting, but I didn't care. But when they had that unison, "Wake up, wake up, come around." There's something about those harmonies. Now, I loved harmonies with the Everly Brothers and all this other thing, but there's something about the big, powerful vocal thing that I just said, I need that. I need that feeling.
So it's always been music for you. Have you, did you, graduate high school and go to college, or did you ever detour into let me find the backup career type of thing, or
no mamas at least have something. You could be a music teacher. No plan B.
Awesome.
And there was just something about it that just kind of. I'm a smart guy. I could have gone to college. I went to community college, and I remember taking. And I was caught in that generation that the baby boomers, where there was not enough room in colleges. So I went to college in taking courses in a synagogue and on an army base and all these other things. And then, my grades were okay. Then I could go to a real community college. I went to Manhattan Community College, commuting in from Brooklyn. And I spent, a few months there. And I wanted to be a music major. And even though I had Every Mother's Son, I had like the record at the time. I said, well, maybe I'd like to do some film scoring and stuff. And I went to whoever the counselor was, and no, I don't want to sign up for these classes. Well, do you have French? Do you have Latin? No, I didn't offer Latin in a Jewish Brooklyn neighborhood. Well, okay, you have no art credits. You're going to have to take a bunch of art credits. I said, I have no art credits because I've been in every school band and orchestra and dance band and, everything. So, I basically took a chemistry exam test, and I just looked at the paper, and I walked up and gave it back to the teacher. And I said, I don't even understand the questions, let alone know the answer. Well, I can help you. I can tutor you. I said, hey, man, thank you. I appreciate you. Good. And I just walked out and said, I'm making, $5 or $10 grand, whatever was big money, with the
big money. Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't need this. I wanted it, but right now I don't need this. So, I just stayed through I had a couple of peaks, career peaks, mostly valleys, but, I just pursued whatever I could.
Tell us about some of your endeavors, these workshops you do, what you do besides just straight performing, because you have quite a bit of variety going on in what you do to help others. So why don't you take us through that?
Again, I followed the music. I went from New York, California, had the Rick Nelson scene, and after the Rick Nelson years, everything was kind of going to spandex hair bands and stuff in California. And I'd be watching like the bands that came on Letterman, at the end, it was Barry Chapin Carpenter and stuff. And I said, hey, this sounds more like, the Eagles and what was going on. These bands coming out of Nashville, and these singer-songwriters, so I moved to Nashville. And I got involved in the songwriting community and worked for the National Songwriters Association International. And I was doing song mentoring and workshops and things like that. So I've never been one of these, studious music theory, music major kind of guys. But to me, especially coming from the folk school, it was about how do you, here's a melody, and these are the words I'm going to sing. How do you make that a song? And I call my workshop, Make Your Guitar Your Co-Writer. Because very often somebody could be, two writers get together and they're trying to do something, and you got something, I got this, and nothing. Okay, I'll go make coffee, and somebody walks away, and somebody else is sitting there kind of. And then the coffee guy comes running and says, hey, what's that? Oh, I know, it's just screwing around with, like that kind of night exchanges. I said, hey, let's write something like that. So the guitar, you're sitting there kind of getting, in my mind, I'm going to Carolina. You got to go like, every day a new song comes to me. So, if you really put yourselves in the shoes of the artist, or the session musicians, it's not really how much you play or how fast. It's really setting up that, make the guitar sound like a whole band. The guitar was an integral part of the songwriting and the style and making it sound like a record.
Right.
And so I taught those workshops, and I did one combined workshop called the Nashville Songwriters Roadshow that I did for Sweetwater and some other things, combining both of those and song critiques and open mics and stuff. And, that went over really well.
And now this message.
Introducing SageStream, a dynamic platform offering live, interactive, real-time music video streaming tailored for older adults. Here's how we elevate the experience. Enjoy a rich variety of live performances, complemented by rebroadcasts and a comprehensive archive of past shows. Access over 100 top artists from around the world, including sought-after talents like Ben Morrow, guitarist for icons like Cher and Lionel Richie. Explore a wide range of musical genres such as jazz, rock, blues, classical, standards, opera, and beyond. Engage directly with artists through song requests and personalized acknowledgments, fostering connections through chat and text interaction. No hardware necessary. Simply sign in with a username and password from any device or smart TV, ensuring hassle-free accessibility. Keep your loved ones connected and engaged, combating isolation and fostering a sense of community. Elevate their quality of life with exciting and uplifting musical experiences that bring joy. Senior living providers offering SageStream provide many benefits. According to a University of Michigan study, 4 in 5 older adults watch musical performances on the internet. They report stress relief, relaxation, joy, improved mental health, memory stimulation, and enhanced motivation and energy. SageStream saves planning time. It is a powerful sales tool and boosts net promoter scores. Having SageStream readily available proves invaluable in various scenarios, such as when entertainers cancel, during health emergencies, and for filling challenging time slots. SageStream, where music meets connection, enhancing lives one tune at a time.
Here we go. So I'm on the board of the Institute for Music and Neurologic Function, very humbly part of that board. I was co-founded by Connie Tomaino and the great Oliver Sacks. And in her book, Music is Power, she outlines ways where caregivers can kind of hone in on a music soundtrack for their life or that of their loved ones. And so basically, I'm going to shoot you a bunch of questions that she has in her book, Music is Power, to kind of help people to determine those, that soundtrack that they can put together for mom or dad, that's going to spark memories or maybe bring them back out of a dementia stupor for a while and bring them back to life for an hour. So, again, no right or wrong answers, just, what comes to mind as quick as you can
may
answer.
I preamble this with one quick episode that I saw in 60 Minutes.
Preamble, yes.
Right, which means I'm not discounting the essence and importance of what you have to say. There was a thing on 60 Minutes about Alzheimer's, and
yes,
they had, you saw that?
Yep.
Okay, well,
but
for listeners,
tell our
had
listeners,
a bunch of people with dementia or Alzheimer's, and, they didn't know, the daughter, get away from me, don't, who are you? But they put them all together, and they sang like, get by with a little help from my friends. And all these disconnected people with Alzheimer's were all singing the lyrics and singing together. And even afterwards, the mom would kind of recognize the daughter. And it was just amazing, how deep and primal, like our modern evolved mind and our primal monkey mind,
right,
or so, just merged through that music.
Yeah. And, that's when I got out of bands and nightclubs, I went into senior communities. This is circa 1992. So I got my dementia training on the ground. So I saw this firsthand. I would go in, I didn't know what was going on. And, I learned that somebody could be totally asleep, come awake for the whole hour and then go back to sleep again. Or somebody could be a wanderer, and how you embrace them, and they want to dance, they dance. If they want to take up your lyric sheets and do something, you kind of go along with it. But I learned early on the transformative power that music brings just from my street training, but never realizing that I would meet somebody who was the pioneer. Actually, Oliver Sacks was already studying the brain, but functionality, but he wasn't necessarily studying music and the brain. And Connie actually brought that to him. So, all right. So I'm going to shoot the questions at you. So do you have a favorite type of music?
Music that has good songs and, and good arrangements. I prefer things, the Eagles, go back to my folk roots and the Southern California roots, things, Jackson Browns, a lot of contemporary people today, but bands or artists that have good melodies, good stories. And again, it could be Beyonce too, that just has a different type of production, but people that really, songs.
Sure. So and you've alluded to this earlier, but what music did you listen to when you were young?
I told you I got the tingles that never went away when I heard the Weavers. And just hearing that wake up, don't come back, with Pete Seeger's scrawny little high note, and Lee Hayes on the bottom, and a gal's voice, God bless her, I forget her name, Ronnie someone, who had this big shake. I mean, the voices just didn't even sort of match up or blend, but collectively they just had this great sound to them. And that turned me on. And again, Everly Brothers, something as simple as Bye Bye Love, which also turned me on to, Bye Bye Love, how important that was, which was Chet Atkins.
Yes.
That was as much a part of the record as the harmonies were and as the melody of the song was.
Yep. Yep. So you already alluded to your religious background. Did you sing it at synagogue or any church or anything like that?
No, I was bar mitzvah. My mother was like, the golden Jewish mother, and my father was a devout card-carrying atheist. So, the Jewish mother is really about the home and the soup on Friday night and she's not the spiritual leader of the household. So, I was bar mitzvah, and I had, I was like failing math. I didn't learn, Hebrew and reading backwards and stuff. So I had this tutor that came in, Mr. Fishman, old Jewish man. And he came into the house with a tallis, and he'd sing like, which means how great is out of God. And I just went like, what? And I was just so overwhelmed emotionally
Right.
that, when I got my bitch, I had to, and like the people said, oh, the son, he should get a scholarship. We'll give him, he should be a cantor. And I went like, I'm going to be a rock and roll star.
That's it. Yeah.
But that influenced me again. That the feeling of people, of the lineage of music all coming together. That thing that Gershwin got, I never got it here, but got my own version of the bug.
Right. So you're from Brooklyn. So did Broadway shows or musicals play into your something that you went to, enjoyed, or influenced your music?
Yes. My folks always had albums of the classics, Carousel and West Side Story and Oklahoma. And I remember I was taken to, a few of these shows, just again, the real Rodgers and Hammerstein, the South Pacific, so-called. And again, even, it's not a song that I would ever sing, but, that kind of, Balihan will draw you, that feeling of tension and release. And even now, when I want to warm up my voice and I don't feel like doing something, I'll be in the car and there's a bright golden haze on the meadow. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, and I'll sing it like a half step higher and stuff. But, it just has such range and beauty to it. And Maria, I just met a girl. What an incredible piece.
Yeah.
So, I was sort of raised around hearing those songs.
Sure.
and plays and that sort of got me into it. And also listening to, I was like a latchkey baby, one of the first generations, so my mom had to go to work too. And it's like, okay, go home and there's a snack and you do your homework. And they have these local channels and they have these, matinee movies, and they play these old Fred Astaire movies and these old black and white musicals and stuff. So I would hear all these older tunes and Jolson things, and and there was, as corny as the movies and horrible as they were, there were the songs.
Yeah.
And actually, the thing that made me really, I think, lit up my songwriter thing was there was a cartoon called Rough and Ready, a little stick figure cartoon.
Yeah, I remember.
It had a song, "We're rough and ready, we're always rough and ready, we're tough but steady, we're always rough and ready. At times we have our little spats, even fight like dogs and cats, but when we need each other, that's when we're rough." And there's something about the way they got that spats, cats, but that's. And I went, wait a minute, there's something, I like the way these words are, words have power and cadence and, things coming out at you. They can be three-dimensional.
Which answers my next question regarding TV shows and theme songs and influence in your life. So you kind of just nailed that one without knowing I was even going to ask you.
Yeah, the Flintstones are just Flintstones.
Of course.
That Rough and Ready thing was so primal. But again, that's when I heard that thing.
Right.
Okay, moving on.
And of course, we got Halloween coming up, so it's going to be da-da-da-da. So, first live concert that you went to?
I don't remember. It was probably, something like it might have been a Peter, Paul and Mary concert. We didn't, we were like sort of bottom of the middle class.
Mm-hmm.
So, it wasn't going to events or kind of thing. But I remember going to a Peter, Paul and Mary concert, being backstage trying to say, hey, I'm from this high school newspaper or something. We want to do an interview.
That kind of, sure. Yeah. Do you still have any records, vinyl, tapes, or CDs?
I have, CDs. Most of my CDs, I just put them into, my iTunes. So exactly. I'm just physically, I had them somewhere, but, they've all sort of gone and moving. Tapes, no. records, no, they all got, peed on by cats or, and actually I was, when I moved out to Nashville, they sort of lost, all of my boxes of my old stuff.
Oh, that makes it easy not to have them. There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah,
And they tried to say, okay, well, we'll give you 10 cents, per thing that we lost.
right,
I said,
right.
excuse me, for everything you lost, to replace them, it's $15 now in a CD,
Yeah. Yeah. We were,
one that.
we just been away for a while. And we were up at we have a mountain house in Northeast Pennsylvania, and we did a massive clean out after, 27 years of accumulation. And I was sitting in our living room, and there's these two end cabinets. And I opened one, and was full of VHS tapes and some DVDs, and then like two whole racks of cassettes that I had dubbed from CDs probably at one point, and now I've been,
Mixtapes.
yeah, exactly. It's like, oh my God, these are sitting here. I'll never listen to them, but somebody at Goodwill now is going to enjoy them. So,
Yeah.
all right, these are really fast, and if they don't apply to you, you don't have to give me an answer. But
Pass buzzer.
exactly. So, what music do you use to wake up to?
Don't wake up to music. The music in my head, which I always want to sort of post on Facebook or something like. Because I'll wake up with the stupidest thing in my head, something I would never sing, never listen to. It's either an old commercial or just something. It's lovely day today, and whatever you got
Right,
to do.
right.
What? I'm tired. My back hurts. My mouth tastes horrible. Why am I singing? It's a
Right.
lovely day today.
So do you?
Something comes.
Yeah. No, I have those moments too. And, sometimes a song in the middle of the day will get in my head, and a song you might have said. So one of my artists, Nick, asked him what his favorite song was, and the first one he does was, lovely day, and and it's like, okay, I had that song in my head for a couple weeks. So, do you have a pet? You have a dog?
No, I love dogs. Cats, not a, cats have their own.
All right. So you don't want the dog, so you don't have music to walk to.
I love dogs.
Yes.
Dogs are God spelled backwards because they give you unconditional love. But it's just circumstances and where I've lived and stuff, you can't have pets
Sure.
for a long time. Love the ones that I did have. And all dogs that I see. So when I'm walking the dog, I'm in the elevator.
Do you have music while you work out?
No.
In the car?
I don't listen to music.
Okay.
I find it in places, it kind of finds me, but I'm not one of those guys, and I have a gazillion cable,
Sure.
satellite music channels. I don't listen to music all day long. I like to think or I watch news or just, I like stuff that's input.
Okay. So that just eliminated my last 6 questions, but that's fine because that's an
Go
answer.
ahead, give it play. Maybe there's
when you don't feel well.
When I don't feel well, I just don't feel well. I just kind of shut down. My artistic things kind of shuts down. Desire to play or listen to music
Okay.
just kind of shuts down. I just go mindless, watch a movie, watch the news.
Got it. But music doesn't play into helping you over,
I don't use it to drug myself for mood.
Got it.
It's not like I'm in a down mood, but lovely day will bring me up.
Got it.
Or I'm feeling sexy and this is being able to play Donna Summers.
Right. Got it.
I just wait for the stuff from inside to
Right.
come out.
Sure. Okay. So, any last thoughts, recommendations for further exploration into music appreciation or understanding?
Just really follow your instincts. And again, it's one thing to say if you want to be creative and write songs or play an instrument, that's one whole conversation. Just for the layperson, if you like something, like it. It doesn't have to be because, your girlfriend's a Swiftie, so you've got to go along on the Swiftie train. Just what makes your teeth tap, your toes tap, or what touches you. And did you want to mention, I think in your notes about experiences working with seniors?
Yeah, if you want to talk about it, I didn't know how much experience you've had. So, yep. So, um, have you worked with seniors? Was it a deliberate choice to move into that population? Yeah, talk about that. Sure.
Yeah, a friend of mine, Billy Knight, and he came to me as a guitar student, and he's like a retired guy, and he was kind of struggling to be a player. He didn't have a strumming. Again, we worked, really for a couple of years together, and became just super friends. And he finally got the confidence. He wanted to go out, and he always wanted to make music, and he played in bands when he was young, but. And he just felt he wanted to go to work in senior homes and do stuff like that, just for free. So I got him up to the point, up and running, where he felt really confident about that, and kept expanding his library. And he just like works, meaning does this stuff all the time. I went with him on a couple of these things, and literally because he said, hey, these people are paying here, and I can give you this. And I went, well, okay, I'll go out to the middle of nowhere and do this. But I saw, like, I've done a lot of things in churches, and again through there I saw a lot of senior people coming up to me, and something like the grace of God, and just seeing that connection that they have. So that was one exposure. But then when I worked in one of these, whatever you call senior communities, they were, some people that just really liked the music. Some people it was just like, okay, after this pudding time, and they were just there. But one of the most memorable moments that I had was I was sitting there and singing the song, and as I'm singing the song, I'm just scanning the audience, and sort of the table sort of in front of us, there's two ladies who are obviously good friends, and I'm singing, whatever this happy little song, and they're smiling, and they're bobbing their heads, and I'm scanning, and I'm scanning, and they're sitting bobbing their heads, and and then I'm coming back, and I'm scanning, and they're both fell asleep, and I just found that was so endearing. Just the fact that, hey, okay, you were moved. This made you happy for this period of time. Mother Nature said, close your eyes. I mean, I just come home late and, watch TV, and I said, just let me rest my eyes for a minute when I'm out. So I didn't take that I took that as sort of as a compliment that they were enjoying it and bobbing along and smiling. And it just really gave me, this very sweet connection. And I've gone out and, played a bunch of other times. And, that's why I would love it if I could do something like we do at Sage Stream, live, where you can really see their faces. And also take your set and see, like, okay, this is something, let me go. Or they like that Beatle, let's do more Beatle tunes. Or they like it, or hey, I can do a little Georgia on my mind. There's some, reach back into the oldies, but, it just really touched me working with people of that age group.
Yeah.
And I'm still thinking I'm the 17 to 18-year-old kid who did every mother's son.
Sir, we all are. We all do.
I believe, I should be at one of those tapes. Again, there above for the grace
of God go I. Yeah,
I'd be sitting there.
Full circle there. Yeah, and a great segue for Sage Stream as the final kind of wrap up here. And by the way, so I brought you in on Zoom, but I'm actually recording you on the Ecamm software that we use for the broadcast. So that's a new feature of our Ecamm. So we will have certain situations where we'll be able to do sing-alongs and invite communities in on the Zoom part of it, and invite people, to do that, as well as having the chat that we have. But final thing is, why do you? I mean, first of all, I appreciate the fact that you've considered Sage Stream to be on our roster and have now, performed for us a couple times, and we hope to get back to those live performances again soon. But why do you think something like what we're doing is important?
I think it's important because music, again, it empowers people. And, I know I live alone, thank God I'm healthy and stuff, but, I know I get lonely. I know I can get depressed, you know, and even if you're living in, in a senior community where there's people all around you, you can still feel, because you're not in that environment you were in your whole life, you don't have the family or you don't have your house or whatever it is, you can still feel depressed in a crowd. So, I know what it's like to feel that cut off, to where it really sort of, if here's the bottom, it's getting down there. But I find something, and it's usually through the music or a gig. When I'm in one of those professional valleys, it's weird. But I go out and I do a gig and I play for people, and all of a sudden, I don't care if there's 3 people out there in the audience. It's just like, okay, there's this wave that's going to other people to me, and I see they're smiling, and I'm getting a thunderous round of applause. But it moves me. So the idea of like the stuff with Sage Stream, if it can give those people something different, take them out of, and plus I'm in a community like that, I'm sure again they have, this is the time we wake up, this is the time we have your water sports, this is the time we have your pudding, this is the time we have a little entertainment, it could be a juggler or a puppet show or a Denny or a blah, blah, blah. But the idea of having something that's breaking up their day, giving them something new, some new input. And I do a lot of classic rock kind of things. So, the idea of saying, hey, something that's bringing them back
Sure.
to that feeling that they have. And again, music is a freaking time machine. You remember where you were, all the lonely people. If I can get them out of being an Eleanor Rigby for a little while, and feel we get by with a little help from Denny and his friends. It's very enriching for me.
Well, Denny Sarokin, I appreciate you being on Sage Stream. I appreciate you taking this time to help us record this amazing story of yours. And I know it's going to be very hard to edit because we have covered a lot of ground in almost 2 hours of conversation. It's been great. And everybody, it's Denny Sarokin, and it's DennySarokin.com, DennySarokin.com. And we'll have things in the notes. We're doing this as a video cast right now, but we will have a audio only podcast, of course. But it's great to have both types of versions, so you can see us a little bit animated in our conversation here. So, Denny, once again, thank you so much.
Thank you, man. And thank you for all you do. God bless. And until the next time.
Here's this episode's tip for incorporating music into your everyday life for health and wellness, brought to you from Connie Tomaino, the co-founder and executive director of the Institute for Music and Neurologic Function.
If you'd like to know more about how music can help people with dementia, people with memory problems, as well as how music can help you age well, I've recently written a book called Music Has Power in Senior Wellness and Healthcare, and it gives a lot of advice. It provides a lot of advice on how-tos of using music in everyday care, in your self-care. And also with the book is a dedicated website that has videos, information, programs, other types of list of websites, popular song lists. So a lot of resources that you can have at your fingertips whenever you need that can help you use music to really enhance your life.
Here is this week's listener's musical memory.
My name is James Skarnikat. I entertain seniors professionally in long-term care and retirement homes all across Canada. I'm a contractor to rec therapy departments coast to coast, and I have a long history in the senior living industry. I used to be a nutritional manager, and I jumped to recreation. Well, it was 14 years ago exactly that I switched to recreation, and I've been providing music programs coast to coast professionally ever since. And it's been probably the most heartwarming experience of my life. And I want to tell the brief story about the time when this fire was lit underneath me. I credit an older fella in a long-term care home. His name was Curly, and it was apparently his name because of his once curly hair, which he no longer had. And the first time I met Curly, I entered the room. It was just a small long-term care home with a small recreation room, and there he sat in the front row in his wheelchair, basically unresponsive. And even the staff right away said, "Don't worry about Curly, he doesn't react, and just ignore him." So I launched into my program, starting a little bit soft as I always do, and then I build it up slowly and gradually, just so I don't shock the residents, and always mindful of my volume and so on. But Curly sat in front of me, and he seemed to be pretty sluggish, just slumbering away. But as I kept performing and playing these toe-tapping tunes from Charlie Pride and Hank Williams and whatever, he kind of perked up. He suddenly started watching the program, and he had on his lap a Kleenex box. And it wasn't long. He started tapping to the rhythm on that Kleenex box, and he started singing along just in his weak little voice. And the staff were passing by the hallway, and they were looking in the door, and one even remarked, "We've never seen him do that before." And Curly just perked right up. It was a real eye-opening moment to how music can stimulate somebody that is tired and in a torpor. But I visited there regularly going forward, and I played there almost every month at that time. The place is closed now. It was an older facility, but Curly was always singing a song, humming this melody. I didn't know what it was. And about 3 or 4 programs later, he just happened to have a family member in the room, and she knew what the song was. It was called "When I Grow Too Old to Dream," a 1930s classic, a beautiful song. So once I knew what the melody was, I immediately went home, researched the song, printed the lyrics, prepared it, and the next time I was there, I played it for Curly, and the response was incredible. He was singing along. I played it for him several times, that program. I played it every program subsequently, even at Christmas time. After Jingle Bells, I'd play when I'm too old to dream, and I just couldn't not play it for dear Curly. And he was in my audience for a couple of years, always a little bit more sluggish and a little more slow. And then sadly, one day, as to be expected, I arrived for another concert, and he was no longer seated in the room. And I knew that he had, let's just say, moved on. But I credit Curly for teaching me not only that song, but teaching me the value of these songs that seniors love, how important it is to their spirits, to their souls, to their energy, to their mental health, just the reverie and the memories that are created as they get to hear these great old songs. And it's so important that they be surrounded by the music that they recognize. So thank you, Curly, for teaching me the value of music for seniors.
Your Brain on Music was written, produced, and created by me, Anthony Cirillo, with original music from Ariel Soul, a great harpist. You can find him at arielsol.com, ARIELSOL.com. Please subscribe to our group, Your Brain on Music, on Facebook. And of course, you can download this podcast from all of the typical and normal podcast providers. So we hope you subscribe to our podcast and listen to it. We'll be featuring many great artists and neuroscientists talking about what happens in your brain when music is played. Until next time, thanks a lot.